In the dust-laden winds of Bharat's forgotten past, a prophecy rose, not of a warrior, but of a mind sharper than any blade. He was not born in royalty, nor in power. He was born into purpose. As the sun rose over Takshila, the city of sages and scrolls, a young Brahmin child with a furrowed brow and piercing eyes stunned even the most learned scholars. His name? Vishnugupta. History remembers him as Chanakya. Fate remembers him as the man who rewrote. Earth burned under the weight of corruption. Magadha, once a beacon of power and prosperity, had decayed from within. Dhanananda, the Nanda ruler, sat on the throne, arrogant, cruel, and intoxicated by gold. He mocked the wise, crushed the poor, and silenced Dharma. And in his court one day stood a Brahmin, clad in simplicity but bearing the eyes of fire. It was Vishnugupta, now known as Chanakya. He had come with hope to awaken reason in a tyrant, but what he received was humiliation, laughter, insult. The king insulted his appearance, his knowledge, his very birth. In that moment, the sage who had spent his life mastering logic, law, and the sacred tests transformed. His pride as a seeker of dharma was ignited by fire. He did not strike, he did not curse, with nothing but resolve in his heart and intellect sharper than any sword. Chanakya walked away, not defeated but reborn, and thus began a revolution not of weapons but of wit, deception, and ancient strategy. Chanakya vowed not to tie his untied tuft of hair, Shikha, until he fulfilled his vow, that is, to destroy Magadha. The stars above Bharatvarsha whispered of a boy, not born in royal beds but in shadows. Far from the palaces of Patliputra, in the harsh wilderness of Takshila, a child of destiny lived, unaware of the empire waiting for him. His name was Chandragupta, an orphan, a warrior, a lion cub raised in silence. But fate does not leave such children alone. It finds them, tempers them, and places them before fire. Chanakya, now wandering through the kingdoms in search of a king who could destroy the Nandas, heard whispers of a boy, clever, fierce, and untamed. He observed him silently, how he tamed the wild horses, how he fought older soldiers, how he questioned injustice, all without fear. And then Chanakya knew, this was no ordinary boy, this was the weapon Dharma has forged, not born of privilege, but of pain, hunger, and fire. Under a moonless sky, beneath an ancient tree, the teacher met the student, and thus began a bond, not of blood, but of vision. Empires are not built on dreams, they are carved from resolve, one tactic at a time. In the smoky silence of the Takshila Gurukul, beneath oil lamps that flickered like omens, Chanakya began the transformation of a boy into a monarch. This was no mere schooling, this was the forging of a shadow king. Where others were taught dharma, Chandragupta was taught deception. Where others learned scriptures, he mastered silence, subterfuge, and statecraft. Chanakya taught him the art of disappearing into crowds, of breaking armies from within, of conquering minds before cities. To win a war, he said, know your enemy better than they know themselves. Strike not where they stand, but where they breathe. Chandragupta, trained by night, read Arthashastra by day, and practiced espionage with wandering spies. Every lesson was veiled with danger, because this was not education, this was preparation for conquest. It wasn't brute force that shook Magadha, it was brilliance. Chanakya deployed the Rajmandala theory, ally with enemies allies, sow distress in Nanda's generals, use spies in temples and markets. The economy centralized, the army rebuilt with steel and spirit. War elephants roared, chariots thundered, espionage paralyzed Magadha from within. Then, like a silent tide, Chandragupta struck. Dhanananda fell, not knowing which dagger ended him, steel or strategy. Mauryan Empire rose from ashes, greater than any before it. But Chanakya didn't stay to bask in glory. He returned to scrolls, to silence. His Arthashastra became the spine of ancient Indian governance. He wrote maxims to mold kings. Do not be too honest. The straight tree is cut first, he said. Centuries later, these truths still echo. A sage, a strategist, a storm disguised in saffron, Chanakya didn't just destroy a dynasty, he rewrote the DNA of an empire.